Today is Indigenous Peoples Day, and to celebrate, I wanted to tell you one of the few stories about Spanish colonizers in North America that doesn't make me want to tear my hair out. The improbable-seeming connection between the squash blossom necklace and the Islamic world. You may be familiar with the squash blossom necklace, a beautiful and usually elaborate piece of jewelry initially created by the Navajo or Diné tribe, and now ubiquitous amongst indigenous tribes of the southwestern United States. It is often set with turquoise, and although there are a lot of different variations, it always includes two distinct motifs. The central pendant, known as a naja, which is in the shape of an upside-down crescent, and the squash blossoms, as the name suggests. But if we take a closer look at these two motifs, it turns out that we can actually trace them all the way back to the Moors who ruled Spain for over 6 centuries, when the Iberian Peninsula, what we now know as Spain and Portugal, was under Islamic rule. While the Navajo people had been making jewelry for far, far longer than Europeans had any presence in North America, they did not begin metalworking until they had contact with Spanish colonizers. Initially, they traded with the Spanish for metal goods, including horse bridles. They seem to have been incredibly taken with the Spanish horse bridles, which often included crescent moon motifs. The Spanish, in turn, took these crescent moon motifs from the Islamic Moors who ruled the Iberian Peninsula. The crescent moon is an incredibly important symbol in the Islamic world. It is known as hilal in Arabic, and it represents beginnings and renewal. Then we have the second motif, the squash blossoms. While you might be thinking that's self-explanatory, squash is a staple crop that has been incredibly important in North America for thousands of years. But if we take a closer look, they look exactly like pomegranate buds. Where do pomegranates come from? Well, initially they come from what we would call the Arab world. The Moors brought pomegranates to Spain, and the Spanish, who loved them so much that they even named one of their cities after them, Granada, brought pomegranates to North America. In fact, it's very likely that the squash blossom necklace was not called a squash blossom necklace until the early 20th century, when they were being marketed to white Americans. Pomegranates and pomegranate buds are an incredibly long-standing symbol in jewelry, tracing their way back thousands of years. You can find examples of pomegranates in jewelry in much of the ancient world. So in a roundabout way, the squash blossom is carrying on a jewelry tradition that's existed for thousands of years. And if you want to walk this cultural dialogue back even a little bit farther, the crescent moon is often paired with a star in Islam. This actually originates as the symbol of the Greek city Byzantium, which would go on to be known as Constantinople and then Istanbul. So even more improbably, the squash blossom necklace, initially created by Navajo silversmiths at the end of the 19th century, has ties to the Greek city of Byzantium circa 300 BCE.